Take a moment and think about your morning. What is the first thing you do when you wake up? Do you check your phone? Stretch your body? Or maybe make a cup of coffee? For many people around the world, coffee is not just a drink. It is a daily friend, a warm start, and a little spark that wakes the mind. Every single day, people drink more than 2 billion cups of coffee. That means, at almost every moment, someone somewhere is holding a warm cup.
Coffee gives us energy, but it also gives us time to think, to talk, and to dream.
It connects people in small cafes, busy offices, and quiet homes.
It has become the second most traded product in the world, after oil. Wars were fought over it, empires grew rich from it, and revolutions were born beside it. But here is the strange part: the band of the highlands of the goats. Before coffee came into the world, life was very different. People worked with the sun and rested with the moon. There was no quick way to stay awake. The common drinks were simple: water, milk, and welcome, even at breakfast. They helped people relax, but they also made people sleepy and slow. There was no drink that could keep people awake and focused. At that time, people already knew about the small red berries. Some people ate them raw for edge of the small seed could change the world. Our story begins in the green highlands of Ethiopia, more than 1,000 years ago. There lived a young goatherd named Kaldi. The story of Kaldi and the monks was only the beginning, but coffee's real journey, the one that shaped our world, began hundreds of years later. The little beans traveled across the Red Sea, from Ethiopia to Yemen. There, in the 1400s, coffee found its true home. In Yemen, a group of holy men called Sufis began to use coffee. They needed something to help them stay awake during long nights of prayer. They discovered that when the beans were roasted and brewed, the drink became stronger and more delicious. It gave them energy, focus, and peace. At first, they didn't have machines or tools. They roasted beans in small metal pans over an open fire. They listened carefully to the tiny crackling sound. They smelled the air to know when the roast was perfect.
It was art, not science, a patient process made by heart and hand.
Sometimes the beans burned. Sometimes the drink was too bitter or too weak. But the Sufis didn't stop. Soon, word of the drink spread beyond the monasteries. Traders, travelers, and scholars began to try it. They called it kawa, meaning the drink that gives strength. For the first time, there was a drink that sharpened the mind instead of dulling it. The drink became part of their spiritual life, and then their daily life. In small clay pots over open fires, people began to brew coffee everywhere, at home, in markets, and in mosques. For centuries, coffee was a drink of monks and mystics. But one day, something changed.
Coffee left the quiet walls of the monastery and entered the busy streets of the city.
It was no longer only a drink for prayer, it became a drink for people. In the 1500s, coffee reached the city of Mecca, one of the great centers of the Islamic world. People there loved the taste, the warmth, and the energy it gave. Soon, small places opened where men could gather, sit together, and drink. These were the world's first coffee houses.
Inside these places, the air was full of conversation and laughter.
The smell of coffee mixed with the sound of music and debate. People talked about business, poetry, and politics. They played games, told stories, and shared dreams. The coffee house became a new kind of space, open to ideas, open to people. One writer at that time said, "In Mecca, people drink kahwa and gather in great numbers. They talk of their affairs and stay awake without distress." It was true. Coffee gave people the power to stay awake, but also to think, to imagine, to create. Every great invention meets fear, and coffee was no different. When it first spread across cities, not everyone was happy. Some priests, a drink could change people's minds.
In Mecca, around the year of 1511, the governor banned coffee.
Once coffee was accepted, the world began to change. In Europe, coffee houses became the center of life, open to rich or poor. People paid 1 penny for a cup, called penny universities. Inside, they talked science, art, philosophy, sparking newspapers and revolutions.
In London, one became Lloyd's, the first insurance company.
Another became the London Stock Exchange. In France, thinkers like Mr. V discussed freedom. In Vienna, musicians found inspiration over dark coffee. Before coffee, breakfast was beer or wine, making mornings slow. After coffee, mornings became brighter and more focused.
Arabs kept coffee secret, roasting beans before export. Dutch smuggled plants to Java, Sri Lanka, South America.
French officer Gabriel Declus carried a seedling to Martinique.
Facing storms and pirates, he shared his water with it.
From one seed, millions of trees grew in Brazil, Colombia, Indonesia. Today, more than 70 countries grow coffee. It connects farmers in the tropics to office workers in cities. From south, it has become one of the strongest bridges between cultures. A simple cup that unites the world. Revolutions. The story of coffee is also the story of us.